because I have lights.
Fancy lighting.
It all comes down to the lights. All right, let's see here. Here we go. Stand by. All right, I think we're live. Let's wait and see. Ladies and gentlemen, can you see us? Can you hear us? Can you see the comments in your screen?
Let's see. Live comments. Oh yeah, there we go.
There we go. Wait for it. Just wait a couple seconds. There's like a 30-second lag, and all of a sudden the flood will start. Just wait.
I wonder if I'll need my glasses.
Oh, no.
All right. Look at this. Okay. I've never done one of these, man.
Yeah, dude. Well, let me be the very first one to officially welcome you to the internet, to the live stream thing.
Man.
Dude, cheers.
Rock, man.
Yeah, like I told you off camera, I made a special trip to the store to get the Latrobe, Pennsylvania's finest, and they were sold out. So you're not only getting people to play guitar, you're getting people to drink Rolling Rock. Nice. So I went with something right up the road with a Yingling.
Amazing.
So, dude, I just want to say on behalf of everyone, I know that so many people that are watching that they're slowly starting to trickle in here. It's been a real treat. I know that you kind of jumped on here because of the quarantine, and this was never like kind of what you expected. But dude, you have to be blown away by how your videos have just exploded, man. We're so pumped that you're on YouTube. I can't express to you.
I can tell you the whole story of how it started. You want to hear it?
We all want to hear it. That's exactly what we're here for.
I have this dear friend, amazing recording engineer guy named Steve Marcantonio.
Okay.
Nashville, engineer. I've done a million records with him over the years, and he's a dear, dear friend. I love the guy to pieces, and he doesn't even know this. I've never even told him this, but
love it.
The first day, do you guys remember the very first day of the quarantine? Like when it was like, it was raining here in Nashville. I can't remember. It was like a Sunday, I think.
It's different in different states.
Yeah, right. And I talked to him on the phone, and right when we were hanging up the phone, he said, "Hey man, you know what you ought to do? You ought to get on YouTube and play some guitar for people. It would cheer them up."
Yeah.
But I was like, I always blow off everything like that, and I didn't even pay any attention to it. And a couple hours later, I just started thinking about him saying that. And I went out to the garage and did the first one, of those lessons. And right out of the gate, everybody was so cool and all the response. I was like, well, hell. And I'm thankful that it just gave me something to do in this time.
Yeah.
Because I would have not had anything to do. I would have driven myself nuts, man.
Yeah, it's a wild time. But we're so glad you did. And I feel like each one of us that kind of found your channel, we all got a call from a friend or someone. They were like, dude, you got to stop what you're doing and you got to go check this dude out. Because, when I stumbled upon your channel, the first thing I thought of was our mutual friend, Tim. And I was like, this is a dude just like Tim who like has been at this upper level for so long and has so many stories and experiences, but basically no one, at your, that has gone through your walk of life shares all that stuff online. Right. So to have someone come on, like what you did the other day, and you talked about, you thought your tone was great and that Joe Walsh is like pulled the paint off the wall, but in an arena, it makes all the difference. It's stuff like that like, we no one talks about. We don't know it. I love it, dude. I just love it. I hope you keep doing it.
Oh yeah, man. Thank you. Yeah, it's a funny thing. There's just so much to know about all this stuff. I think that's why there's so many guitar channels and so many websites, because everybody's so curious about all the ins and outs of guitar. There's so much to know, man.
Yeah.
It's a video game that you just keep going. It keeps going up a level. The better you get.
That's it. Well, let me. I have some questions for you. Before we get into that, I just want to let everybody know online that I told I told Tom that if you'd come on tonight and we'd do a little live lesson thing, that all of the donation money that comes through that we would split, to kind of like welcome him to the thing. So just know that if you have any specific questions or whatever, just know that that's what it's all about here tonight. And so I wanted to, one thing I heard you talk about, which I wanted to kind of hear you expand on, is when you were younger, you said that, or you said when you were younger that you were into the Yngwie thing. You were into the speed, into the, working with the metronome, trying to get the chops up. And I feel like it's such a common thing, like for all of us. Like I started out as a metalhead, to kind of start with the rhythm. And then as I get a little older, I, got more into harmony and etc. And now I'm on a hunt for great melodies. And like what I hear in your playing is like, I hear the hook, I hear the melody in all the chords that you do. And I think that's just so cool. I was wondering if you could just kind of talk about that progression from your perspective.
Well, I'll tell you the whole bloody story.
Love it.
I started playing guitar when I was like 9, right?
Mm-hmm.
My oldest brother, Doug, who's like 13 years older than me, he played. And I have 2 other brothers as well and a sister. I'm the youngest of 5, right? So, you know how like when you're real little, you like, I don't know if you have any older siblings, but I like worship my...
I'm the oldest of 5 boys.
I worship my older brothers, right? And whatever they thought was cool, I thought was cool too. Because, you just sort of look up to your older brothers, And
yeah.
I remember listening in on my brother Mike's conversations he was having with a bunch of his stoner friends, and I heard they didn't even know I was listening, and I was listening through the back screen door, and they were all sitting outside, and they were like, "Man, wouldn't it be cool to play guitar?"
Yeah.
And I was like, and they were like, "Yeah, it'd be cool to play guitar." And I was real little, and I heard that, and then the next day I called my oldest brother, and I said, "Hey man, you got to show me some guitar stuff." So he showed me, Blackbird, right? That was the first thing I learned, right? When I was real little. And, I was into it was all that stuff early on was Beatles, like I mentioned in all my videos, David Bowie, all my earliest influences. And I loved all that stuff so much. Hey, Rick just said hello. How you doing, man?
So Rick actually just threw a super chat up there for $25. Thanks, Rick. Rick, you're the man.
Thank you, dude. That's a whole case of Rolling Rock, man.
Dude, I told you, this is like a welcome to the internet party, brother. I cannot tell you how psyched we all are.
Yeah, man.
So anyway, keep going.
Well, yeah. So that was like the early thing, and then as I got a bit older, right? I think it was probably like 15 or something. And then I started hearing about all the shred guys,
Yeah.
And I was like, it mesmerized me when I was young because I was like, wow, how does anybody play a guitar like that? I couldn't believe that anybody could play that fast and that clean. And I was kind of late to the Van Halen party. The first Van Halen record I ever heard was Fair Warning, which is their 4th record.
Mm-hmm.
So I didn't even know. Somebody kept telling me, they were like, you got to hear Van Halen. So I went to the record store and I bought Fair Warning. I didn't even know what it was like. Came home, put it on the turntable. First song, Unchained. I was, whoa, man, this is just... So of course I went through the whole Van Halen thing.
Yeah.
And, I don't think I ever really bought like an Yngwie record, but I was amazed by it. I was amazed by the technical brilliance of it, and I still am to this day. It's like there was a few other guys back in those days. Who were some of the big, really fast guys back in the early days,
Oh man, I mean, there are so many.
Alpine, remember? Yeah, he was.
Yeah, exactly. And Michelangelo Badio, who would do the 2-hand thing, and all that. I loved, like the Marty Friedman stuff. Like I love that stuff.
Yeah, man, and it, like, I just thought it was pretty amazing that people could play the guitar. I still loved all those records that I mentioned, but like the little Beatles and stuff. But I just was into this new thing. But I did learn a lot of techniques and stuff. Like I said, I'm really glad that I learned all that stuff because it does come in handy, even if you're not shredding.
Yeah,
you still have that horsepower,
Yeah,
I'm glad I did that, and I think when I got to about 18 or 19 years old, I was like, man, I kind of moved away from that stuff, and then I was kind of getting back more into like the roots music and the stuff that I ended up, loving. And then when you moved to Nashville, I was
Yeah.
I was 24 when I moved to Nashville, and when I got here, I was just immediately blown away by the culture and the history of this town. Nashville's like like a like a preserve, like a historical preserve for all these great ancient forms of music that nobody gives a shit about anymore. It was like a state park to preserve all these weird forms of music, and people think of it as just a country town, but all kind of music is appreciated here, and
Yeah.
musicians are appreciated here, unlike
Yeah.
when I was growing up in Cleveland, if you told somebody you were a guitar player, they would be like, yeah, like, what do you really do for a living? But in Nashville, musicians are actually respected,
Yeah.
so I was taken by that, and then I started like immersing myself in all the sort of roots music that is real popular around here, right? And then I started playing slide, like I mentioned, started getting into guitar tone more than anything. Like, it was more about like getting an amazing sound out of a vintage guitar and a clean amp, and all that stuff.
Well, let me ask you this. So, my buddy Blake Kane, who actually just shot a message to you, he when I told him that I was doing this with you, he was like, dude, his guitars, the guitars that you actually owned and you set up are like their own breed of collector's instruments, because people, however you set them up, apparently you're like, people that buy your stuff search for your stuff and keep them because of however you set them up is like next level. And I hadn't heard anything about this. I mean, and so I watched the one video of yours when you talked about how crazy you are about your setups, but I was wondering if you could talk about that for a second.
Well, I'm real picky about guitars, right? I feel like people think of me as a vintage guitar sort of snob, but I'm not. I love old guitars, but I also try new stuff all the time, because I don't, if something new comes along that's amazing, I'll play it, like those Duesenbergs that I use and stuff. But like, I think one of the things that younger people that are kind of getting into vintage guitars need to learn is that just because something's old doesn't mean it's cool.
Yeah.
There's tons of vintage guitars that are dead wood and never were great instruments.
Yeah.
Everyone's thinking, well, I played an old SG once and it was terrible, so I don't really like vintage guitars. It's like, well, dude, if you played the right one, you have to be just as picky about choosing an old guitar as you do trying to find a good new one. They're all different. I mean, I've had about probably 200 dot neck 335s past, and
200.
every single one of them is completely different. They're all completely different, and like they could be the same year, and they're a totally different instrument. So like, I'm just gotten to the point where I'm really picky about the way the guitar sounds acoustically, because I feel like when a guitar sounds really good acoustically, it's a no-brainer that it's going to be a great instrument.
Yeah.
Electric, when you plug it in and all that. So I feel like what you're picking up on there with this guy that you just mentioned.
That's Blake. Yeah, but now Papa Stash is on here. Papa, how are you doing, brother?
What's up, man? I mean, for me to even buy a guitar in the first place, it's got to be a certain level, right? And I think so. People buy a lot of the stuff that I sell because they know that I'm picky. That's all it is, man. It's really,
Well, no, it's true though. I tell everyone that I've never had the cash to go or the interest really to go hunt down vintage gear. But when I'm looking for stuff, I'm really not thinking about the brand, the make, the model, or the year so much. Like, if I pick it up and it doesn't ring, like even if it's free, I'm not taking it. It's not going in the car. You know what I mean? And there's just something to that. And I think with a lot of the vintage gear, maybe just because there's not as much out there, or it's old and hasn't been taken care of, or so few of them are the magic builds, that it's really just hard to find one.
It's true. It's very true, man.
Yeah. Let's see here. let me go back. All right, I got another question for you.
Hit me.
So you mentioned that in one of your videos that that you're digging Jerry Garcia, but you got into the Dead later in life.
Yeah, man.
I just, and I mean within 4 to 5 months, started getting into that stuff, and I was in a total rut. You know, put down my guitar for a few months, and then something happened. I heard that kind of music, and it inspired me to learn something completely and totally new. And I was just wondering if you had any perspective on that, just because I heard you say you got into it later in life. I'm 36, and I feel like I just found that whole thing.
I think right around my mid-20s, you know, I realized there was something really magical about that stuff. And again, like what I was just saying about the guitars.
Yeah.
Like Dylan and Todd Rundgren and all these amazing artists that have done amazing things. Their bodies of work is so vast.
Yeah.
That a lot of the stuff that is probably not going to be as good as some of the key stuff, right?
Yeah.
They've got a lot of records like to find the good stuff, right? The really good stuff. Neil Young and all these guys that have made 1 million records, you know. Try to find the really good ones, you know. That's and the Grateful Dead is sort of like that. I think a lot of people are turned off by Grateful Dead in some way, but they haven't heard the good records. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's true, man.
You know, and I just like their songs because their songs were winding and there's a lot of great lyrics and lots of verses that just keep going on.
Robert Hunter, man, the lyrics are really what got me. I think one of the main reasons I never got it for so long is because I was so used to strict musical idioms. You know, like if the band isn't tight, if you're not getting all these parts, if it's not arranged properly, then you're just not doing a good job, you know?
Right.
And, you know, that's not the goal of that band. But the tunes, I love Robert Hunter's tunes, man. I'm a sucker for stories. Like I really just want great stories. That's really my thing.
It's great stuff, man. Jerry's massively underrated. I just like that whole culture that surrounds the Dead. You know, it originated an entire lifestyle, really. You know, I mean, like, and I was very late to that jam band scene. You know, when I joined that band Trigger Hippie back in 2014 or 15 or whatever, I didn't know shit about that whole jam band.
Yeah.
I'd never been to any of those types of concerts or anything. I didn't even know that world was so alive.
Dude, I'm just finding it out right now. It's crazy. It's like a whole nother ecosystem.
It is, man. And those people are so into music, man.
Yeah, they are.
And I really enjoyed that, getting a look at that culture because it was so new to me. You know, I didn't know anything about it. It was great. But that's a cool thing. You know, I look at you know, you guys, I've made it clear in some of my past videos, like Derek Trucks is one of my idols, man. I mean, got to know him a little bit through that.
Dude.
And I'm looking at him and I'm up there and I think when I watch him play, I look at him and I think, what a life, man. I mean,
yeah.
He's got this amazing band. He's got his family and his kids out on the road in these amazing tour buses playing these amazing shows. And he just goes up on stage and gets better every night. Dude,
it's unbelievable.
Trying, and he's got this whole world there that he built. Like, what a perfect life.
I know. It's unbelievable. So I have a surprise for you, my friend.
Yes, man.
Here is our mutual friend, Tim Pierce. To welcome you to the internet as well. Tim, how are you, brother?
That was such a good conversation. I'm sorry to crash your party, but I was told that 6:20 was my time, and you let me in. So here I am. Nice to see you guys.
Yeah, how you doing?
I'm good. We're okay out here in our little suburb. We're doing fine. Yeah.
Oh.
And just like you guys, I'm doing stuff online all the time. So that's our outlet, right? Oh, good. You got a guitar in your hands. That's good. That's good.
I got an old acoustic. Yeah, an old acoustic. We all got one. Yeah.
Yeah. Mine's back here.
Can I please tell the story again, real quick, about what you did for me in LA recently?
You have to.
Can I please? All right.
Yes.
I don't know if anybody saw that video, but man, what was it? Before the pandemic, before shit got crazy, I had to go out to LA to do a record for a dear friend of mine, John Fields, for an artist named Ben Richter, and we had a blast. It was great recording at the old Ocean Way studios. And when you're a session man and you have to go out of town to do a session,
it's tough.
You don't have any of your gear and you can't fly with it. What are you going to do?
Yeah.
So Tim was kind enough to donate a bunch of gear to the cause, but the part that really warmed my heart was that you drove it yourself to the studio.
I've come full circle. That was actually the easiest and best and most pleasurable way to do it. I mean, those guys, I've worked at that place forever. They're like family to me. I mean, you know them all down there. They're wonderful. And so it was a great excuse to go down there and to see you. And John too. I really like John. I remember him. But you're right. Being a session man, when they ask you to go on the road, and they're saying in the background, they're going, "Oh, Tom's got it. He's got it covered."
Yeah.
And you're going, "How do I get all my sweet gear to this other place?
All my tricks. What am I going to do?" Yeah, but it's exciting to go out of town, for that part of it. But then the gear part is always a nightmare. But you saved my ass, man, and I appreciate it. And those guitars were all amazing. Every guitar you sent over was great. Amazing.
Well, they're getting better. It's taken me a long time. I wish I had this collection in the 90s when I really needed it, but that's another story.
So what did you bring? Do you remember?
Like an old 335, kind of a new Fano, an old Gretsch. You like the Fano?
Yeah, I like the Fano. I like that Strat too you sent. That Strat was amazing.
The Duesenberg that you got me.
Yes.
I brought you that, and a few other things too.
Nice Martins. Very nice. Thank you.
You brought a whole van full of guitars.
And a couple of deluxe reverbs, and I brought my own pedal board. That's all I brought.
Yeah.
It's that's all I needed.
It was nice. I did a little film that I will release. I just have to put it together and make sure that it's great. So the little film of Tom that'll come out on my channel at some point.
Good, man. Yeah. Good. What are you working on today, man?
Yeah, Tim, what are you working on?
I'm working on another video, and that video is actually about me rediscovering my diesel. And
really?
It's sitting right down here. Let me show you.
Dude, go
really quick.
Love this.
Now, when I first met you, Tom, you were wild about your diesel. You loved it.
They're great.
And I just rediscovered it, and I'm making a video about it. All 4 channels. It's really fun.
Oh, that's a great amp.
It is a great amp.
Yeah, I had a lot of good times. That was back in the days I was using that and a Bogner Ecstasy, and I loved them both.
Yeah.
That's great.
The clean channel is actually really great.
Yeah, great shit.
Yeah,
no doubt. So do you like that? What's your favorite channel on that thing?
I like channel 4 for leads. I like channel 3 for leads also. It's basically for really, really high gain stuff.
It's great.
The cool thing, you can kind of pretend, at least I can pretend I'm Steve Lukather, because I can just get noisy and I don't even know what the notes are, but if I'm playing fast enough and it's at channel 4, it kind of sounds like that thing that he lapsed into where it was just like his. So it's fun. I love it.
I don't know what happened to mine. I wish I still had it. I don't even know where it went.
You sold it. I know where it went. You sold it.
Did you buy it?
What? No, I didn't buy yours, but I remember you. You were done with that stuff. It was a purge.
Well, yeah, I think then I went into this phase where all I wanted to play through was a Princeton, remember?
And that's where I met you, and you were right. You did not need the diesel. You got the sounds you got out of that Princeton. What we did together was a Rob Thomas record. And Rob, I think he's the nicest rock star I've ever met.
He's great.
Rob Thomas from Matchbox 20.
I love this. You guys could go on forever. Keep going.
Yeah. So I met Tom and I watched him. I played along with him. Matt Serletic had us in the room together tracking, but then he also had us in the room together overdubbing.
Tandem overdubs. How cool.
Yeah. I went to school. It was awesome. I fell in love with Tom. I had to restrain myself.
Like brainstorming guitar overdub ideas. Like,
it's great.
One guy would say, "What do you think about this?" Start playing a little riff, and then wouldn't it be cool if we doubled it? And then you learn 2 guitars overdubbing at the same time, doubling. How cool is that?
It's great. Well, the thing is, Matt Serletic was always the most serious.
Oh, dude.
Oh, Tim, I lost your audio.
Yeah.
Tim, you got audio, Tim?
That just happened by accident.
There you go. There you go. You're back. Keep going. Keep going.
Story.
See, we're live here. This is real.
Well, I had worked with Matt Serletic for years, and that session was the first time I'd seen him kind of loosen up and get giggly and laugh. Yeah. And I realized the problem was me. I was the one who was making him too serious, Because when he was working with you, he started laughing. He just laid back on the couch and started laughing. It was like, oh, I thought it was him this whole time. I'm the one who's too serious.
I can't stand when sessions get too tense. I have to be the class clown. And as soon as shit starts getting too tense, I have to do something stupid to loosen everybody up. I can't take it when everybody's trying to be too uptight, you know? Oh, man.
Yeah, that you go into sessions sometimes and it's so quiet. It's like a library. And you go,
Lord.
Wow, is this how it's supposed to be? Ooh, ooh.
I prefer it better when everybody's joking around. And
me too.
More fun. Yeah.
So now I have a question. So Tom, like I know Tim, you know, you have a whole, you know, I've been to your lair. It's, you know, it's this amazing lair with your wall of amps, your isolation booth, you know, a couple floors down. Now, Tom, do you have a big setup at your house, or do you always go into the studio?
Dude, I used to have an amazing home studio back in the day, and one of my biggest regrets is getting rid of it. I don't know. I moved to a different house, and
that's what it is.
When my kids were real little, I used to have this fucking badass home studio. I actually bought it from a friend of mine. I bought the house and all the gear and everything. It was like I bought this guy's whole deal, right? And it was an amazing studio, and I used it for years. And then when my kids were first born, I was like, I thought these guys are going to trash all this gear. I'd see them out there by the Trident console, you know, like about to spill stuff into it. And I got rid of it. I got rid of all that gear, and I moved it downtown to Music Row. I partnered up with a couple of friends, and I put it in the studio downtown. So I still have all this stuff, but it's like I have to go downtown now if I want to use it. And, you know, and I've never been an engineer. I can't run Pro Tools at all. I would love to be able to do some of that stuff. Like I look back now and go, why the hell didn't I learn that when I was younger? You know, it's crazy, but I've always just wanted to play, and I didn't want to get involved in that side of music because it's such a part of the brain, right? Working on the technical side of Pro Tools and all that stuff, you know. Right, Tim? You can get around. Yeah.
Well, it's something that I do when I have to, and it's a pleasure if I'm just doing a little of it a day. But if I sit here running Pro Tools for more than 3 hours, like I've sat here for 7 hours playing guitar and running Pro Tools with a composer sitting across from me or an artist, and that's too much. It's just ergonomically, it's really hard on your back and on you know, guitar is just, it's to go from the mouse and the screen to guitar is different than a keyboard.
Are you a Pro Tools whiz, Michael?
No, not at all. Not even a little bit. I haven't really done much session work at all. I've gigged a ton, but you know, I'm a minimalist. I'm one of those people that I find one solution. I find, you know, one guitar amp, one really good sound setup, and I try to, you know, send everything down that channel. I really actually struggle with technology in a lot of ways, believe it or not.
Me too, man.
Yeah, Tom, you just choose your hands. That's your whole thing. Here's the deal. If you actually, there's 12 things I do in Pro Tools, maybe 20 that I'm really fast at. And those are the only 20 things I know. And it's really fun. It's so fun to actually make music with Pro Tools because it's like painting. You look at the waveforms, and I really, really enjoy it. When I'm doing my own thing and there's not a client sitting across from me.
You got a guy that helps you, like a house Pro Tools guy that comes over?
I used to, but now it's just they're too. I can do it faster than anybody that comes in this room. So
I would definitely need a guy. Definitely.
Well, yeah, you would for a while, but there'd be times when you would really enjoy doing it yourself.
Yeah.
But I like what you do. I like your technology. It's just you live on YouTube, so we like it.
I was, you know, like you. I'm amazed that you're able to do all those tracks. Like the people send you tracks, and you could, you know, overdub guitars on. For years I couldn't do that. I mean, it would mess up my head because what I would do is, like, if somebody sent me a track and said, here, overdub guitars on it, I would put way too much shit on it. I would think, boy, they're going to need this, they're going to need that. And if I was in the room with them, all it would be one track, and they go, oh, I love that. And I'd be cool. But like, I second guess everything so much that I would be like putting too much shit on there, you know, and I would try to, I think I would be too much of an overachiever or something if I was trying to overdub tracks for somebody that wasn't in the room with me. How do you deal with that, man?
I say no. That's a misconception. I don't do it.
Yeah, like,
I love it.
you have to be in the room with the guy. That's
Yeah, I refuse. They have to be responsible for the decision that we make together. And the part gets finished with us together. Now, that's not always true. I have certain people who are like made men. And if they ask me to do something without them, I just have to say yes, or they'll kill me.
right.
So certain producers will say, hey, I need you to do this thing. And then I bite the bullet. And literally what you're talking about happens.
Yeah.
It's super depressing.
Oh,
And it takes me 4 days to do a 2-hour session.
right.
It's
And-
the worst.
It would have been one take. You know, it would have been great, right?
Yeah. So you're preaching to the choir here. What I do is I put people on FaceTime or Skype,
Yeah.
or I used to have them. I just made sure that they drove over. You know, if they weren't local, if somebody was in Israel or London or whatever, I'd have them on Skype and we would do it together. But
Have you ever tried giving Skype guitar lessons?
no, that's another.
The lag is
Now,
terrible.
okay. So here's the thing. I'm going to say something and then I'm going to stop because you're asking me these huge questions. I spent my entire life in client service, getting paid well per hour to deliver the goods.
Tell him, Tim.
Okay. I don't want to do that anymore.
Right.
So I'm not teaching anybody on Skype. I make videos and I put them out into the world, and that's my. You can get me on a video, but you can't get me.
I've never
on
tried.
Skype.
Is it a bad lag or something? What's it like if you try to? You
On
can't.
Skype, yeah. What's it like?
Well, it's a couple things. Like one, it's bad lags. You can't play at the same time. And how much of what you're teaching is timing or something where it's, you have to play together.
Right.
The other main issue with teaching online, with doing the Skype lessons, is that for me, it's no different than teaching a lesson in person, or for you guys, maybe doing something hourly in the studio. You're still limited by how many hours you have and how many days you have. So, you can charge more, but you can't do more. And so the burnout happens quickly, and all of your time is gone. And so I feel like people who commit to the internet should lean into the internet strengths, and that is not one-on-one. It's one squared.
Right.
And I don't know, man. I hope you keep doing more. Like on a personal note, I love seeing someone like you come on with an iPhone, no edits. You see yourself come in, touch the button, come out, touch the button, and it sounds great. It's just it's very, very refreshing to see, man.
Thank you. It's the only way I know how. I had one video where I had an edit in it.
How'd that go?
I had to send it to a friend of mine and said, "Can you edit these two things together?"
Tom, you can edit on YouTube after the fact too.
Can you really?
Yeah, it's really cool. If there's like something that really annoys you, you can go into YouTube. It's pretty easy.
Yeah.
But we don't need you to do that because like you are so good at this.
Thank you, man.
That you never need to do that. We love it.
Thank you.
And it's you're a virtuoso at YouTube.
Oh, God.
Just like you're a virtuoso at guitar, dude.
Thank you.
See, Tom, what this really is this is like an internet intervention where we're like, we're gonna put you on here, we're gonna put you in front of a couple thousand people, and we're gonna make you some money, and we're gonna be like, you have to come and play on the internet with us.
Right. That's so funny, man. How long have you been doing this, Tim?
I started this 10 years ago, very badly. Very, very badly.
And has it really been 10 years? 2010?
Yeah. I mean, I started on YouTube about 3 or 4 years after that. So
yeah,
I started building it up before I got onto YouTube, and then I started YouTube, and then I monetized after that. So there was me trying to get good in front of a camera, and then there was me trying to get an audience on YouTube, and then I built the masterclass and started monetizing it. So
what was the first impetus of the idea that started you on this thing? You know what I mean? Can you remember even?
Absolutely. Totally. There were a couple of things that happened. Yeah. One was Greg Bissonette told me about Mike Johnson and Mike's lessons. Mike is the drum guy.
He is the drum guy.
Yeah. And so it was so exciting, the idea that, okay, we could transition into something where you could sell a product rather than a service.
Yeah.
So it's income, it's passive income. It's scales too. Like Mike was saying, You don't have to be there. There can be 4,000 of you out there or 40,000 of you out there making this, with this energy. But the real thing was I was sitting in my backyard and my friend Brett Papa, who you've met, both of you guys have probably met Brett.
He was just on here, by the way. He said,
okay, great. He delivered an amp to me and he said, my buddy Marty and his partner have made this many millions last year.
Yeah, they really cleaned up in the early days.
And so I thought, well, if I could just do 10% of that,
right,
I'm happy. But really what it was I was 50 years old and the music business was changing. It was still very robust, but it was changing. And I mean, I had 40 years of studio work. I've still got it, but there is an arc to it for everyone.
Totally.
I mean, you don't at a certain point you stop hiring the wrecking crew. At a certain point you start hiring Tom BUKOVAC, and then you hire the young Tom BUKOVAC. That Tommy Tedesco quote is totally true.
One of my favorites.
It's completely, utterly true.
Drummers are particularly trendy, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Bass drummers can hang a little longer, but guitar players, we're the action guys,
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. So anyway, I thought this will keep me off the street. If I can get this much of what I see these other guys doing, I'd be happy. And I got there. I'm there. So it's really a nice thing, but it's a lot of work.
Was it weird at first? Was it a weird trend? Were you like, what the hell?
Oh, you feel it's so awkward.
Crazy world, right?
Yeah. So
a lot different back in those days. Yeah, probably. You know what I mean?
YouTube was very easy when I started, and it was way easy when Marty started and Brett and Justin Sanderco. It got exponentially harder every year, and it's even harder now. So hey, Brett, Brett's saying hi.
Yeah. See, as people come on with comments or super chat, we can highlight them as we go.
Yeah.
But people are loving this conversation.
Brett is actually responsible for launching me. He's responsible. Yeah. He took me all the way from 0 to 100 miles an hour.
And with the exception of, say, a couple people, like Marty's one who was just so early that he helped launch so many other people, I feel like there's just something so organic in this community where everybody really tries to help everybody. Like when I was talking to you before, when I first met Tim, I didn't have much of a following. I didn't have much going on at all, but he was kind to me and believed in me. And it's just, there's something about the nucleus that is here online, which even though we're thousands of miles apart, like it's a real relationship and a real community. And I'm look who I'm talking to tonight. This is cool as shit. It's amazing. It's real.
Was it weird for you at first, Michael, when you first started?
So I came from a totally different thing. I'll tell my story as quick as I can. But basically, I went to school at GIT out in Hollywood because I wanted to go and I wanted to be a session player or tour and all that. And I went in 2004 or so. And GIT, you guys know this. In those days, their claim to fame was, if you were there and you worked your butt off and you were really good, you got auditions with labels. They put you in a position, kind of like a tech school, where you would be in a position to work. And the really great players did.
Yeah.
And when I graduated in 2006 or 7, it was right when YouTube and iTunes came out, and all of the energy got sucked out of that. And the top 10 guys that I graduated with worked, but everybody else, myself included, lost their deals and what are you going to do? So I did what everybody did. I started teaching and gigging. And then I did that for 6 or 7 years or so, and teaching 50, 60 students a week for that amount of time, and gigging on the weekends, doing 100, 120 shows a year locally in a working band, doing weddings, etc. The stuff that paid, because I was starting to have kids. And eventually, around 2012 or 13, I started seeing people like Marty make money online. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to take a shot and I'm going to commit, because my wife's a special ed teacher. So she's at her ceiling. I literally can't, there aren't more hours in the day. I've been doing 60 students a week and 100 gigs a year for 7 years. I can't do anymore. And so in 2013, I committed, and then I did it the wrong way. I lost money for about 2 years and made every mistake you can, and then started figuring out around 2015. And so it's been full time for me since then, 15 or 16.
Who was like the Chuck Berry of the whole musicians on YouTube movement? You know, who looked back on as like the sort of founder of?
I have an answer. Do you want me to go first?
Tim, you take it, brother.
Yeah. It was two people. It was Justin Sanderco and Marty Schwartz.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
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 That was like the origins of it all. Yeah.
YouTube was wide open, and those two guys were huge. They were the biggest in the world.
And you have to remember, in those days, YouTube wasn't monetized. It wasn't really a search engine that had an algorithm, so there were no ads. It was really a storage place for videos, and it took forever to upload. Cameras were, total trash, and there was no quality editing software. It took hours to upload a video to YouTube. And so those early people, it's not like it is today, where every day there's 1,000 guitar videos uploaded. Like it's a totally different ball game. But you do anything for 15 years or however many years it's been since those guys started, you get great at it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's great.
And we're happy to have you.
Well, dude, I appreciate it, man.
Well, and the thing for you, Tom, is that you're one of the people on the earth that's meant to do the best gigs in the world. So that will always be your occupation. You shouldn't leave what you're doing to do this. But now that you're doing this, it'll be a nice thing. Like I said, when you come back from a session and it's Saturday morning and you do this thing, after you're out there doing sessions all the time, you'll have all this different energy and these different stories, and it'll be a great combination to have the two things.
They're already back to work here.
Cool. Good to hear.
That's great news. Tim, how is it out in California? Here in Maryland, it's still complete lockdown.
It's pretty much locked down here, although, I live in a suburb. You guys know where I live. I live in the mountains, so we can move around pretty freely. But as far as work goes, there are not people congregating working yet. It'll happen. I think it'll be another 3 or 4 weeks, and then they'll start. If you think about being in a studio, people usually are at least 6 feet apart.
It's always been that way.
Yeah, so that'll work. The trouble will be when you want to go in the control room and kind of squish together on the couch.
Totally, and studios are always very isolated anyway.
So there's a way. I mean, you could just, what you'll do is you get out of your car, walk into the side door, straight into the tracking room, and you just stay there.
Exactly. Man, do you remember like a couple years ago when I was out in LA doing that TV show and I came over to your house to visit you?
Yeah.
And we had lunch on your back porch there by the pool, and you were telling me about your YouTube thing and all that, and I was like, wow, that's crazy. And you were saying, you don't have to be to get people to know you. You don't have to do it like we used to do it back in the old days. Make a record, go on tour. You could actually become somebody like a household name just from doing like social media and YouTube. And I was like, I remember sitting there looking at you going, whoa. I mean, like, no one had ever said that to me before. I was like, mind blown, man.
Well, you got to think about it. Like if you're like the video you put out today, how many views did that get already today? Like 6,000 or 7,000?
I don't even know. I haven't.
It's something like that. I mean, and you know what it's like to be in a room with 6,000 or 7,000 people at the same time.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, it's so easy to lose that perspective, but I always try to remind myself, especially when the comments get rough or I feel like I've done a poor job or I could have done better, that behind every click, behind every view, behind every comment is actually another person, and it's not just out there in the ether. It's the same as if you were in a room with them. It's just this new version of that. So it's just, you should think about that when you look at how well your videos are being received and all the love you're getting in your comments. Don't lose sight of that, man, because it's freaking cool.
Well,
very
you also get the audience you're meant to have. I mean, I feel bad because I know people who get 10 times the views I do. You know, you talk to Rick Beato, we talk to Rick, and it's like,
Yeah.
dude, you know, and he kind of expects all of us to just do what he does, you know. Come on.
He does, doesn't he? He's like, what do you mean you're not a unicorn?
Exactly.
I don't understand how you're not a unicorn.
I play every instrument. I know everything. Anyway, the thing is, if in my best, most sane moments, I know I have the audience I'm meant to have, because if you try and do anything but be yourself, you're setting yourself up for a problem later on. Yeah. So it's like having a great restaurant. You do what you do, you invite people, and it's as big as it's supposed to get, and it's still going to be great. I mean, I have a medium-sized channel, and I put out videos that do poorly. My last week's video was, you know, it did okay for 2 days, and then it went, and I got the message, you know, people outside of subscribers aren't watching this. You go, because every video you work hard on, you know.
Oh, I know.
Results they give you where you can look and see. Wow.
Oh yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah, but you know what? You're better off not looking, because then you won't stop looking. So just pretend like Tim didn't tell you that.
But here's the thing. You get the audience you're meant to have, and my channel, even though it goes up and down like this, I even have good years and bad years.
Yeah.
Sure.
My channel, it's about 20,000 views a day, between 15 to 20,000 views a day of my collection of videos. Think about that, 500,000 views a month. As a musician, reaching 500,000 people a month,
monstrous.
You can't, and I have a small footprint, you know, but what more do I need? I mean, what more would you want? I mean, it's awesome. And that's, Tom, you have that to look forward to. And Michael,
if those were ears on a record, you know, you'd be loving those numbers.
Right.
And then Paul, I'm not going to hog. I'm actually going to go for a walk with my wife in a second. I'll leave you guys. But
you're good, Tim. You're good.
What was I going to say? The thing that I forgot what I was going to say. Damn.
That's
you want to go on that walk.
I don't want my wife to be mad at me.
I'm working, kind of.
Yeah.
No, but it's great. Tim, feel free to go for a walk. I really appreciate you coming on. I sincerely appreciate it, and both of you. It's just a treat. I really just found out about you, Tom, literally when I made that video, and ever since then I've watched all of them, and I know that all of your subscribers, I think you have just as many subscribers as your average video view. So basically means everybody watched every one of your videos. So from all of us, we're all like, dude, please do more. Come with us on the internet. And so I want to thank you for coming on and sharing everything. I sincerely appreciate it.
Yeah, we all love getting to know you, Tom. It's really awesome. And the thing, I remembered what I was going to say. So Paul Reed Smith always bugs me about doing another solo record.
Yes.
And I get really annoyed with him. I say, Paul, every video I do is my solo record. There's a performance at the beginning of every video.
Yes.
It's an organism that's alive.
Yeah.
And that's really the amazing thing. And kind of, you know, you guys too, your solo career is there. You're doing it every day. You're doing it every week. And it's an awesome thing.
Well, you know, I don't know if you're like, we probably share this. I've always been of the mindset, like, I would rather sit and watch somebody do something live than to hear a record of, like, to me, it's so much more real when you could just, like, because, you know, with the advent of all this amazing technology and the Pro Tools, like, when you hear an amazing record, you have to always wonder how doctored it is and how much really, or like, I always remember when I was a kid, I was always amazed if a band could make a great record and could be good live, right? If you see them on a TV show and they didn't sound like shit, you know what I mean? I was like impressed by that. And I've always thought like YouTube is cool because you can actually see people like really playing and there's no fix and it's like, man.
Some people.
Well, you know, I mean, there's tons of like live videos where all these people are just playing, and that interests me. I like that. I mean, I like the fact that you can just see it.
Yeah.
Somebody just sitting in a room playing an instrument. It's like, it's in some way, I love records, you know, and I'll always love records, but I also love just watching people play live. It's cool.
Yeah, me too.
It's cool.
Absolutely.
Great.
Well, thank you guys so much, man.
Tim, you're the man. I appreciate for jumping on here and surprising him. I sincerely appreciate it. I hope to see you soon, man.
Thanks for the invite. I mean, be careful. These things can go for like 4 hours. So
I know. Well, I told him we'd keep it reasonable.
okay.
So maybe Tom, if you're okay with it, we'll maybe take a couple questions and then we'll call it a night.
Great. No, I'm good, man. I still got half a Rolling Rock here.
All right, guys. Good night.
Bye, Tim.
See you next time. Bye-bye.
I'm about 85%.
Yeah, okay.
See, how cool is that?
I love that guy.
Dude, I know.
Surprise.
Well, that's kind of what we do here. All right. So if you're okay with it, we'll take a couple questions and then so one I got, so my buddy Jason from Premier Guitar, Jason Shadrick.
Oh, I love him.
Yeah, he wants to ask you about playing with Aaron Sterling.
Oh man, dude, Aaron Sterling is a badass. Jesus, Aaron Sterling changed my life, man.
Go on.
He said something to me one time. Some of the most just important advice I've ever gotten in my entire life was from Aaron Sterling. And I told him this. I just did a record with him recently out in LA. And I told him this, how important this was to me, man. Years ago, okay, let me just talk about, this might be a little inside, but you'll follow me here. There's like 3 phases of a session man's career.
Okay.
There's the like, I'm young and I'm confident and I know everything I'm playing is the shit phase. And then at the end of it, there's this I'm a fucking legend phase where like people want me around just because of all the shit that I've done.
Yeah.
But in between those 2 phases, there's this really painful, awkward phase where you're too old to be hip, but you're not quite old enough to be a legend. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when I had my shop, a couple years back, I was struggling with that. I wasn't really playing much sessions, and I was sort of chasing trends, and I didn't have the confidence that I had in my earlier years when I was playing on sessions, questioning more than I normally did. And Aaron Sterling came into shop, him and Tony Lucido, another one of my dear friends, amazing bass player. And we were all in the back of my shop talking, and I said, hey dudes, how confident are you on a 1 to 10 scale that everything you're playing at any given moment is the total shit? Exactly what the track needs. And Aaron Sterling, he's young and confident. He goes, 10. He goes, I'm a 10 all the way. I'm always a 10. And I look over at Tony and I go, what about you, Tony? And Tony goes, 10. He kind of reluctantly said 10 because I think he just picked up on Aaron's energy.
Yeah, yeah.
They go, what about you? And I said, man, I'm at like a 3. And Aaron goes, fuck that, man. He goes, fuck that.
You can't be a 3.
Because I would rather play what I thought was right and be replaced later.
Yeah.
Than to alter what I'm about to play to chase any trend or try to appease someone's, what I think they want.
See, that's so interesting because from an outsider, I would think that that's kind of the gig.
Dude, it's that when he said that, it changed my life, man.
I bet.
It was a huge thing for me. And then he started naming some legendary guys like Jim Keltner and Willie Weeks. He goes, you think they're thinking about what they're playing? You think they're trying to, chase any trends? He goes, just do you. And if they don't like it, they'll replace you later. They don't want some watered down version of you or like the you that's sort of pandering to what you think they want. Just do what you think is right. And if it's wrong, they'll replace it later, man. That was a fucking huge moment for me.
Yeah.
And I'll never forget him saying that, man. And ever since that moment, I've just been like, just totally just going there, like concentrated all the way, man, on that. And it's been working out great.
I mean, there's something to be said for that. Whether it's on stage too. I mean, just selling it, whatever it is, even if it's wrong, if you believe enough, dude, you know what I mean? You can make them believe enough. I just, whenever this subject comes up, I always think of Buddy Guy. I can't remember if we talked about this the other day, but like when he would just stand on the edge of the stage and just bend something way out of key and bend it so long, and you know he's making eye contact with someone, and eventually it becomes right because you believe and you sell it. Like I know what you mean by that, but that's a hard place to get to.
Yeah, and I see other session players going through that phase. That sort of, it's that ground. It's like this. You start questioning yourself for the first time. Because when I was younger, like when I was like in my 30s, like I was so confident to a point, to a fault, really. Like I would be playing something and I'd be like, "This is the shit, man. I know this is good." And if somebody said, "Hey, man, I don't know about that thing you're doing right there," I'd be like, "What? You don't know about this? It's fucking awesome." You know what I mean? And like, it was that sort of foolish young man confidence, swagger of that it's good. But here's the thing about being a session player, man. You got to be more mature than that. Like when you're playing something and you found a part that you like, and you're digging it and you're playing it. If someone says, "Hey, man, I don't know about that. What if you tried this?" When I was younger, I'd be like kind of brokenhearted, and I would sort of attack the new idea with a little bit less vigor than I would attack the original thing that I came up with.
Yeah.
When you're a real session man and you're a real mature musician, you have to change direction and attack this new idea with the same passion that you attacked the thing you came up with. That's a real musician. You know, take the direction from change a course and don't get offended by it. Just go, "Oh, okay. Maybe it is better if I play it the way the guy suggested." You know, and try it and attack it with the same force that you attacked the original thing, man.
And how often do you surprise yourself and say, "Shit, that's better"?
Especially when you're working with really talented people, you know,
because they can hear it in their head.
It's a collaboration, man.
Yeah.
I've always said that there's two things a person on the other side of the glass has to have for me to follow them down any rabbit hole. One, they have to be a genius, or two, they have to be extremely nice. If you don't have either one of those qualities, I can't play along. See, like musicians just shut off when you condescend them, you know, when people say rude things to them over the talk back, you know, musicians just shut off like a light switch, man.
Yeah.
But I will follow somebody who's rude to me if I know they're a genius. Because a lot of geniuses are kind of weird, and they're not great with people.
They're not the best with people.
Yeah, and I could put up with a little bit of like sort of like, you know, condescending and sort of, as long as I know this guy is a genius, because you might learn something.
Yeah.
They don't have either one of those two qualities. They're not nice and they're not a genius. I check out.
Dude.
Because being condescended by somebody you're trying to please is not good. It's not good.
I love it, man. I love these stories.
Truth, man. Truth.
So Papa Stash wants to know, it's on the screen right now, some of your favorite rhythm players. He wants to ask about developing the right hand.
Yeah, I can talk about that. The rhythm playing. Well, rhythm guitar is a dying art, man. It's one of those things that I feel like is not focused on enough.
Yeah.
You know. But remember the first Taj Mahal record, 1968?
Yes, I love Taj Mahal.
Jesse Ed Davis.
Turn off the Katie. Yeah.
Dude, like the first track on that, Leaving the Trunk.
Love that.
That's how you play rhythm guitar, right there. I remember a friend of mine turned me on to that when I was a young man. Keyboard player named Mark Jordan used to play with Van Morrison. He goes, "Check out this record." And I put that on, man. What a gift. The rhythm guitar playing on that. I think about that all the time.
Have you seen that video where he is practicing that song with Tedeschi Trucks Band?
No, but I'll bet it's amazing.
So what's great is they're backstage practicing Leaving Trunk.
Yeah.
And you know, he's obviously on the harp or whatever.
Yeah.
But he's like a funk player.
Yeah.
He's driving home the one like till the cows come home. And so every time with the slide, you know, he's like doing it with the hand signal, like one, and like wait for it, and like it's such a powerful video. Like I so get what you're talking about.
The weave, man, that Keith Richards used to always talk about, with two guys playing, the juxtaposition, the two parts. That record is a great example of that. I love playing rhythm with another guy who gets that concept, because it's like a boxing match where you just jab a little bit and the other guy jabs back, and it's the weave is great. You know, Stone's amazing at that. Richard made a major point about expressing that, and he talked about that a lot. That's music, man. See, like when you're a kid, you know, growing up, you don't know about shit like that. You just want to play crazy solos, and you want to, but that's the ancient wisdom of real music right there.
That's kind of what I was alluding to before. Like when we were young, you know, it's like it's the speed, it's the whatever, and then when you get, you know, a little more down the path or whatever, you start, you get there. And that's the stuff that really gets you off, and you hear, you're like, man, that's the real playing right there.
Yeah. Anybody that doesn't have that first Taj Mahal record that's out there watching this should please just go get that.
Correct.
It's everything you need to know about playing rhythm guitar right there. Jesse Ed Davis from Raikuda.
Love it. All right, let's do one more, if you're okay with the gear question.
I'm cool to go for a while. I'm not bored yet.
Cool. Well, I wouldn't think you would be, but you never know. I don't want to, like I told you before, it's like there are no rules, there's no length. Sometimes I judge my live streams by how many beers I have, and then if I pee twice, I know I have to call it.
How do you look at the comments? I'm looking over here. Let's see.
So you see so there's one on the screen. So Blake wants to know about the single pickup PRS you have, the story behind that.
Oh, okay, yeah. I talked about that a little bit in that one video, but you know, when I was playing with Walsh back in 2017, Paul Reed Smith, Paul used to come in my shop a little bit. I know him a little bit. We're kind of buds, you know.
Yeah.
But he came in my shop, and I said, "Man, build me a guitar, man." And I made this real crude drawing of what I wanted. You know, piece of lightweight Carina body, no inlays, no pick guard, one humbucker. You know, volume and tone only, just a simple Wang bar.
Love it.
Les Paul Jr. type kind of vibe, you know, and no frills. And I sent him the drawing, or I sent him I think I took a photo with my phone and texted it to him, because I still have the original drawing. And I thought he'd forgotten about it. I mean, I didn't hear anything for like 2 years or something. And all of a sudden, one day, this thing just showed up in the mail. I couldn't believe it. I told him in the drawing that I wanted a exposed cream coil humbucker. Yeah. But he sent the guitar with a black pickup with black coils, and I immediately called him. I was like, "Dude, I wanted the cream coils." He goes, "You can't do cream coils because DiMarzio has a patent on that." Uh-huh. They're not allowed to make, even though DiMarzio, you know, Gibson was doing cream coils back in the 50s.
They patented cream?
Yeah, they patented double creams as a DiMarzio patent, and Paul can't do it. Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
So I went out and found I tried a bunch of different pickups in that guitar, and the one that really worked was an old DiMarzio Super Distortion. That sounds amazing. I had my friend Nick Druschel at Glazer Instruments put a treble bleed cap. Yeah. Volume control. So when you turn the volume control, it stays nice and bright. Yeah. It doesn't get all mushy when you turn. That guitar sounds amazing. It's really great.
Well, while we're waiting for another question to come in, what are you working on these days? I'll tell you what I've been working on.
Yeah.
I've been working on trying to figure out that frickin' Supertramp song that you know how that song?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Trying to figure out a reggae version for that. I'm trying to put together like a reggae vibe of that tune. Someone just sent me a message the other day and they were like, "How about Supertramp?" I was like, "Damn, I haven't listened to Supertramp in forever."
Oh, that's a great song. Shit. Yeah. That's a beautiful lesson in chord changes. That song. I mean, that when it goes to that chorus bit, E flat.
Yeah. Did you remember that second chord? It's like the 5 goes down.
F over E flat, and then A flat over E. Flat.
Yeah. See, you know it.
Oh yeah, yeah, man. Right?
Yeah.
Great, man. That's a fun one to play on the whirly. You know, that's all whirly. Let's go on that one.
Yeah. That's so. What are you working on? What are you working on in the past day or so?
I was doing that goofy Louisiana groove out in the garage. Did you hear that one?
I did hear that one. You have so many different grooves that sound so great, man. Yeah, I love that swampy stuff.
Yeah, man, that's pretty popular in Nashville. A lot of people always want to play like that, and it's kind of a big Al Anderson kind of vibe and all that stuff. But that was fun because it was just I tried doing that loop one time and it didn't sound right, and then I redid it and it sounded a lot better. I did it in 2 parts. Like I did, let's see, the first part was like a. Were you working that?
Yeah, yeah.
And then I added the over the top of that. I tuned down and went like 1, 2, 3, fall. Right, that kind of vibe, right?
I was wondering how you got that sound. Now it makes sense when you tune down. I was like, that thing sounds huge.
Oh, cool, man. Yeah, man. And that was fun. That I just try to go out there every day to dream up something interesting to play, and because that's the thing. I was gonna do a whole video about this, what I'm about to tell you, but maybe I'll just tell you now.
It's up to you, dude.
Like when you're a session guy, man, most of the job is like playing in a character, right? Like you have to. Somebody will say, "I want this kind of vibe." Like I've been doing a lot of work out at Kid Rock's house before the pandemic. He's got this amazing studio out in White House, Tennessee.
Uh-huh.
I'm working out there a lot, and he's very cool to work with. He's very creative, really into music, and he's got a great sense of rhythm. Man, Kid Rock's a badass, man. But man, like he'll say, like, man, I've tried recording this song 3 different times with 3 different bands, and I can't get it right. I want to get an old time rock and roll vibe. I want it to sound like Muscle Shoals.
Yeah.
And he'll get very he'll direct about what he wants. So when you're a session player, you have to figure out how to go there. You have to figure out, like, what was it that made old time rock and roll, or any other example that somebody would give you, such an amazing record. So
yeah.
I'll literally in the studio sometimes we'll just go, let's listen to it. I'll just get the original version up and have everybody listen to it. If that's the vibe we're going for, let's just listen to it. Let's listen to the drum sounds. Let's listen to how long the bass notes are. What kind of, like, is it a 4 on the floor? Old time rock and roll is 4 on the floor on the kick drum, which I never even realized. And it's like, you got to, like, just to get the sound. So the engineer hears it and they go, oh, that kind of drum sound. Oh, that kind of piano sound. And then you start dialing in the sounds from there and you start playing in a character. They don't, Kid Rock at that moment does not want Tom BUKOVAC on a guitar. He wants to sound like a Muscle Shoals record.
Yeah.
And I have to know as a session player how to get there, right? That's why when I listen to records, I'm so breaking them apart, man. Like putting them up on the CAD drawing in my mind, and I'm trying to remember like all these little things that make that record sound the way it sounded. Not just the guitar parts. What's the drums doing? What's the bass doing? What's the piano doing? And I try to remember all that stuff so that when people want to flash, they want to pull those flashcards and they want to get that vibe and play in that idiom that I can do it, right?
Yeah.
I love doing that, because people can construe that as me saying like, oh, don't you want to play like yourself? I do like to play by myself, but I also like trying to get into character sometimes. And I like trying to conjure the ghosts of an older idiom of music that's sort of gone, and see
Yeah.
it recreated in a very authentic way.
Yeah, it's so cool, and it's just something that I don't hear people talk about or teach much. I'm trying to remember who Tim Pierce had on his channel. It was a bass player, and they had a conversation like this, and the conversation was based around how, you know, different genres, different feels from different eras, you know, you can tell the difference. The bass can be different, not for at the point of attack for when the note starts, but at the duration of the note. You know,
Right.
and it's little things like that
Right.
that if you're not listening actively, you don't catch, you know. And for someone like you, who's kind of called upon to do that, you have to really, I believe you have to have that mapped out,
Totally.
you know, and really understand the different nuances, because it's so true. Like, you can have a 4-on-the-4 groove, but if you have pulses that are different, it doesn't matter where it comes in, how long they last is what makes the groove what it is, amongst
And
other things.
the tone's got to be right. You know, you got
Yeah.
to be able to do all those classic tones. You know, people in Nashville are pretty shameless about like, you know, copying, you know, classic records. You know, it's not taboo for people in Nashville to just go, I want it to sound like old time rock and roll.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, some people think that's a bad thing, but you know, the reason that people like music like that, because it reminds them of things that they like, and it's a cool sound, right? I work for this one producer guy. His name is Tim Lauer.
Mm-hmm.
I sent him a text last night because I was thinking about that playing in character thing.
Right.
And Tim is very specific. When he tells you what he wants, he'll always say, play like this. Play like, and I said, send me a couple. He sent me a couple last night. I thought these were hilarious. He said, play like you're on Saturday Night Live for the first time and all your friends from high school are watching. You know, like, get into that character, you know, or he'll say, like,
I love that.
you know, play like the instrument in your hand isn't your first best instrument and you were so stoked to be playing it right now. Or play like you're on a gig and 3 beers in and there's no chance anybody is recording this. You know,
I love it. Just stuff to make you think differently.
get into that headspace. Like, sing like, he says, he always tells the singers, sing like you would sing Happy Birthday to somebody at a party and not like you're auditioning for American Idol. Right? It's an approach. It's a mindset. It's like, that stuff is very valuable in the studio, man. When you're when people are able to articulate that kind of stuff and they can tell you the direction that they want to go.
Do you know Warren Hewart by any chance?
No.
So Warren's a producer out in California, and he also has a huge YouTube channel called Produce Like a Pro, and he's done some huge records. I was fortunate enough to be in the studio with him when I was out in Germany, and he was sitting around we were all arranging a tune, you know, like 6 people that had never played together.
Yeah.
And he was using that type of language to all these people that didn't know each other. And within 10 or 15 minutes, he had everybody playing a part that gelled with everybody else. And that was the first time, because I haven't done much studio work, but that was the first time I really saw someone communicate like that and coax new things
Totally
out of players that would otherwise not have played those things. And it was fascinating to watch.
That's what a great producer does, man.
Yeah. Well, like I said, I don't come from that world, and it was a pleasure to see it, because it was something new. I wasn't expecting it. So that's very cool to hear.
Awesome, man. That's awesome. Yeah. I was going to also mention too, like, have you noticed this from your experience of doing this? Like, it seems like there's a lot of people out there in guitar land, that watch this type of stuff, that are looking for like shortcuts, of how to get really good.
I can't tell you how many emails I've gotten with the subject, "Where's the silver bullet?"
Right. Yeah. I don't even know what a silver bullet is. What do you mean by that? What does that even mean?
It means the shortcut, the thing that, it's the thing that you have to. I don't have to put the work in.
Yeah, like I had a guy write me today. Like he said, "Do I have to really know the guitar to be good? And it's like, can I just play from emotion? It's like, man, what what a loaded question. You mean, Joey Ramone played from emotion, and the Ramones were amazing, but
Yeah.
it depends on what you want to get out of the guitar. If you want to just be a stylist, like I love Kurt Cobain, like he's one of my
Totally.
favorites.
Totally.
I love
Love it.
singing and his writing, and he's a good example of a guitar player like that probably wasn't very technically skilled, but he just played from pure emotion, and it was. But when I see these people, they're trying to avoid doing the work, and they're trying to avoid putting in the 10,000 hours to get really good on a guitar, and they get frustrated when they see, like, there's no hack to being a guitar player, right? I feel like in a lot of other areas in life, people are used to like getting instant gratification out of things. They learn how to do something quickly. Guitar is not like that. Sports isn't like that either. Like,
No.
you can't, like, I'm a big sports fan. Like, what if I was like in my 20s and had never played basketball before, and I started watching Steph Curry rain in threes from half court, and I go, wow, that's cool. I want to learn how to do that. Like, that guy has been doing that since he was a little child, and he's been doing that all day long, every day. That's why it's so amazing. This is perplexing me a little bit. This is the guitar player mindset. Like, these people that want to get good at it when they don't want to put the time in. How do you perceive that?
So it's true. We all know that if you've taught in person at all, especially on a local level, you know that the majority of your students are kids for the most part, and a lot of it is babysitting. They don't really want to put the effort in.
Right.
Online, it's more of that, but at least when you go to a room with someone, there's that accountability. Like, you didn't do it. But here's how I view it in a digital format.
Yeah.
I have decided personally that how do I frame this? My channel didn't really start going well until until I kind of hit a rut and realized is the better word, that I hadn't spent much time in years trying to get better myself.
Right.
I had been trying to figure out the internet and how to build a business and all those things. And I realized that I'm on camera teaching, and me personally, haven't really been practicing and trying to get better and acknowledging my own weaknesses and my own goals. So I, on my channel, make a point, to strike a balance between showing things and showing me trying to get better and working on things. And I think that just showing people that you are still practicing is all you can really do to motivate them online. You have to show them that you're online working stuff and not just teaching or showing. You know what I mean? Like, I think, because if they don't see you putting in all the hours, they don't know that you're actually doing it.
Right. Exactly. If you see somebody doing something that looks easy, the only, like, anytime you see anybody doing anything great, whether, I don't care what it is, it could be putting in a hardwood floor, or it could be, sports or music or working on a car or golfing, or anytime you see anybody doing anything great, it looks like they're hardly doing anything. You ever notice that?
Yeah,
it's
totally.
It's just the way it is. All the bullshit's gone. The technique is right. And it looks so effortless when you see somebody doing something amazing. It's like, it's frustrating for me when I watch people do things that I don't know anything about. Like, joking around about the hardwood floor. I had these guys over here putting in the floor, and I was like, God damn, they're good at that. Look how fast they are. Like, how many hours have they put into this? Like, it would take a week to do a little bit of this floor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, there's no substitute for hard work, man. I mean, I don't think that's ever going to go out of style. I mean, if you want to be great at something, you have to dedicate your entire life to it. There's only time in a lifetime to be great at one, maybe two things if you get really lucky.
And I think most of us know that.
Yeah.
I really do. I think most of us know that, and I also think that most of us know when we're not doing the stuff that we
Yeah.
know we're supposed to be doing,
Yeah.
and we get depressed because we know that.
Yeah.
One thing I will reiterate, what Tim said, is that at least online, you find the people, you find your people.
Yes.
So, Tim's people, like one of the reasons that you are welcome on my channel and I'm welcome on Tim's and Rick's and so many others is that our people are not necessarily the same people.
Yeah.
Tim is teaching at a much higher level, and those people have much different goals than, say, my people, and I have found that there's a great deal of people online who are willing to put in, an hour a day or 30 minutes twice a day that are intermediate players that want to have fun and want to get better.
Yeah.
And they're not looking so much for the secret, and they're enjoying the process. So it is alive and well on the internet, I assure you. And I know you're finding some of your people, or they're finding you rather.
That's awesome. Yeah, I agree with that. Exactly what you said, man. That is so true.
Yeah.
It's a hard instrument, man. And
Dude, it's so hard.
It's really hard. It's like the first 5 years trying to learn how to play guitar is painful. And it doesn't really get much easier after that.
Dude, it's well, and that's the thing. It's like once you feel like you got something under your hands,
Yeah.
then you hear something, you see something, you're shown something, or or it happens internally where you put it down for a while.
Yeah.
So I have a question for you, because I mentioned this earlier personally. You ever been through a period where you put the thing down for a considerable amount of time?
Yeah. I have actually. Like, well, I had a terrible finger injury. I told you.
Yes.
Uh,
I had one of those when I was in school. Smashed these two fingers into my truck door and had to play my first year at GIT like this.
Yeah. That was 6 months, and I was, you never realize how much you appreciate, how much you love something until it's taken away from you.
No shit.
I always wondered, like, what would happen if I couldn't play guitar anymore? I had those thoughts in the back of my mind, and all of a sudden one day it happened. It was it. I thought my whole career was over, and it was like frightening, but it was also cool in a way because I learned for the first time in my whole life who I was without a guitar in my hands. Because I've always used the guitar as an escape, I had, kind of a bit of a, not an easy childhood in a lot of ways, and a guitar was always an escape.
I hear you, man. Totally.
Place to run, and that's why I just spent hours and hours and hours and never felt like I was missing anything, and I feel like, but like, aside from a forced injury, I rarely ever take a break from guitar. I mean, I might go a couple days without playing when I feel like I'm a little overloaded and I've been working too much or something.
Yeah.
But I read a book one time that Andy Summers wrote about the guy from the Police, and he said he was a photographer, and he said, I can't quote it exactly, but it stuck with me my whole life. He said, look, if you get out and live your life and you do interesting things in your life, that will come through in your music.
Mm-hmm.
And if you just sit in a room all day and just play guitar in a room that's also gonna come through in your music. Part of the expression and the emotion of music is the life of the person that's playing it, whether the experiences, the pain, all that inner emotion. And when you're living an interesting life and you're doing interesting things and you're doing that type of stuff, it comes through when you're playing.
Yeah.
I mean, some people just hold themselves up in a room and they never come out. I was that way for a while, many years ago. But I feel like living life and doing things, experiencing things in life is important. Is important to the playing as listening to records or as practicing. It's all part of the thing. It all comes through.
Yeah, completely and totally. And different parts of your life where you're going through different shit and going through, and dealing with different things. It takes you to different music, which means different things to you. It's all connected. It's all the same stuff.
Really connected. Having kids.
Dude, having kids is the big one, man. That's
by the way, to you.
Thank you. Yeah, this has been the craziest time period of my whole life. For those of you that don't know, although most of you watching do know, I had my fourth boy about a month ago, right in the middle of all this. And working from home, homeschooling, all of it. It's been crazy.
You started young, bro. How old were you when you had your first kid?
I was 26.
Wow.
Yeah, and believe it or not, I held my wife off for a few years. I had to buy her a dog to buy me a couple years. It's true. It's totally true. All right. Anybody else have any more questions here? Anything interesting? I'll give it another minute here. I'm out of Yingling. How's your Rolling Rock situation?
I'm out, but maybe Sarah will bring me one if she hears.
Well, I'll tell you what. You want to break for 30 seconds and grab another one?
Oh, dude, I'd be into that.
All right.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Hey, I got more than a beer. I got something better than that. Come on. Yeah, you can pour a glass of wine. Sarah's going to come out. Say hi to the kids. There you go. Hey, guess who I found? Guess who's coming to join us for a minute? Sarah's going to come and hang for a minute.
I might have been a minute. All right. So welcome back, everyone. If you're just tuning in here, make sure you subscribe to Tom's channel.
Look at this.
What do I have here?
Look at this.
What do I have?
I even did my hair and makeup.
How are you?
Doing just fine.
Very nice to meet you. You're on here with 500 of your closest new friends.
Amazing. Hi.
Dear
Okay.
Michael Palmisano.
That's amazing. Hi, Michael. That's an amazing last name.
Yeah.
Palmisano. That's very Italian.
It is very Italian. And there's going to be a lot more of us to come. I was just telling your husband that I just had my fourth boy about a month ago.
Oh my gosh.
I know. My wife's so lucky.
Started young. You said 36?
I'm 36 now. Yeah.
Right.
So the kids are how old?
9, 6, 3, and 1 month.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Oh, it's freaking crazy here.
Because they're sparring. They're like fighting. It's physical.
Oh my God. And it's like, I mean, you have kids, you know how it is. Like when you have a newborn, people come over, they help you, but now they can't go anywhere. No one can come over. We're homeschooling. So we're literally teaching 2 of them how to read. You have a studio in the basement. And since I do video, you can only film when they're quiet, which is impossible. And my wife's obviously nursing, so no one's sleeping.
Oh, she's homeschooling and nursing. Oh my. 4.
it's wild. It's wild. But you know what? We're all doing it together.
Yeah, they'll always remember this time.
Dude, are they sports freaks?
Yes, they are. So I saw that your one of your sons is a football. He's like totally into football, right?
Yes, totally.
Yeah. So my 9-year-old is so into football. So we're in Baltimore. So I took him to a Ravens game last year, and he went bananas. Although I will say, he likes to root against everything I like because he likes to screw with daddy.
Ah,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an interesting dynamic.
nice.
I know. And of course, the other one's like, oh, yeah, we'll watch whatever. And, on my side. But the older one, no, he's the A type for sure.
Oh, my goodness.
Nice.
Our
So-
old son goes against what the rest of the family likes.
Totally. She built her own garden today, herb garden.
Really?
Yeah, she was out there all day.
I mean, I went
Building herb
and bought the plants. I didn't grow them from seeds. I bought the plants and I planted them,
So when we bought our house about 3 years ago, it came with this garden that's probably 30 by 20.
Yeah.
And the guy that at our house before us was his master gardener, used to give the whole neighborhood fruits and vegetables and the whole thing. So the first year we moved in, because we came from the city and we had to leave the city because we started having kids because there's no parking. You can't use the schools, taxes are terrible, and it's Baltimore, so it's not safe, and so you have to leave. And so we got out to the county, and first year we're like, we're going to be gardeners, we're going to figure this out, and we didn't. It turned into weeds. It grew 5 feet tall, and so the next year we're like, we're going to try it again, and so now I just mow it down because we've lost all hope.
Yeah. Shout out to Bobby Latina, my old buddy there.
I just put him up on the thing, dude. That's awesome.
I taught him guitar lessons in Cleveland when he was a little kid.
Oh my
music store.
God. That's amazing.
What a sweetheart,
Dude. It's wild how
Glad I didn't mess your head up too bad when you were a young man, Bobby.
Oh, that's so cool. That's so cool. Well,
Guy plays up in Cleveland all the time. Bubba knows.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
Look what just happened. This is kind of crazy. I just want to share this.
you bent that wine handle.
Can you see that it broke?
Oh wow. What are you gonna do? Cancel all the plans.
I'm gonna have to just get
Fair enough.
creative here.
Get on.
I love it.
I don't want to spill it.
Do it.
I mean,
You need your wine.
I'm gonna need to take a minute and think about how I'm gonna do this.
Go get another bottle with a different opener.
So everybody wants to know when's the next song you guys are gonna do, the next prog song you guys are gonna do on your channel.
We talk about that once in a while amongst our constant chores and responsibilities.
Yeah.
Being parents. We can't really give any secrets out, but we've been thinking about doing this really obscure old Peter Gabriel song.
Ooh.
Dude.
Oh yeah, that one. That's
Solo
weird
Pete,
because I was
not
thinking-
Genesis. Solo Pete.
I love it. I love it.
Because I was thinking of another just before I remembered that other one that we've been talking about. I was thinking of a different Peter Gabriel.
Oh.
So I was thinking that, forgetting that we had talked about that.
Mm.
But anyway.
I can't really tell you what song we were thinking about, but the initials are Mother of Violence.
You know that song? It's an amazing song. His wife wrote that poem, right?
Yeah, that's amazing.
Here, you just got a donation for a new wine opener.
Michael, you're probably not a progger
That's
like us.
funny. A wine opener.
Not an old. I mean, I used to have a Gentle Giant record
There you go.
that I loved. I've liked, I've been into some King Crimson,
Over.
but no, not. I haven't really dipped my toes in too far. I'm willing to go on a random tangent. Give me one.
Well, I feel like I've overplayed my whole prog thing a little bit too much too. I feel like, I'm a big Genesis fan, big Yes fan, big Jethro Tull fan, but then it stops there. I mean, I appreciate all the other amazing prog bands, King Crimson, Gentle Giant and all that stuff, but ELP and all that. But I was never really that into it. It was for me, it was always Genesis, Yes, Tull. That was it. But that still makes you a progger, doesn't it? If
Yeah.
So,
I would think so.
yeah, that was it. I remember before our first son was born, we went to see Jethro Tull at the Ryman,
Uh-huh.
the historic concert hall in
Amazing.
Nashville, and we actually for about 2 minutes we bandied about the idea of naming our first kid Jethro. It almost, and then I told my mother, "What do you think about Jethro?" She was like, "No, you're not naming your kid Jethro."
Jethro?
No.
I don't know, Tam.
Yeah, I can see the family giving a little pushback on that.
She
Yeah.
did not like that. She
No.
think it fancy in a country.
You guys 100% do not have to do it, but you're getting a lot of requests to play something.
I also love
Yeah.
Zappa too.
Let's do the song. Let's just do it.
I am the slime, the guy said. I'm a big Zappa freak too, by the way.
Are you?
Yeah.
See, I have struggled to get into Zappa. I would like it. Give me a Zappa, an accessible Zappa tune to start down the rabbit hole.
Dude, I can tell you right now what record you get. 1975.
Okay.
One Size Fits All. It was
Okay.
of all the amazing records that Zappa did, that's the one. You guys with me on that? Anybody?
Yep. I wrote it down on the list. What track, if you had to pick one track to start with?
Inca Roads, the opening track.
Okay.
Dude, it's incredible. It's and I also feel like of all Zappa's amazing guitar solos that he played, the solo at the end of Inca Roads on One Size Fits All is crowning guitar work in my humble opinion. And actually what's funny because he spliced that, it was actually a studio recording, but they spliced a recorded live solo from a concert into the studio recording because it was so damn good. Check that out.
Really?
Yeah, I'm a big Zappa fan. I love them. Listened to a lot of that when I was growing up. Oh, Fields of Knowing. Can you sing Fields of Knowing? You can?
I love it. I love it.
I don't even know if I know it.
No, dude, no pressure at all. The people will not die if you don't sing them a song.
San Bernardino, come on. Yeah.
We could also do that Peter Gabriel song and just go for it.
Oh man, let's do one of your songs. Why don't we do? Everybody wants to hear Stupid Boy. You want to do Stupid Boy?
I just
No,
want to do the other song, you know?
I don't know.
I love you guys. This is great. I'm so happy you're doing this. This is amazing.
Okay.
We'll do
whatever.
Stupid Boy. Here it comes.
No,
Ready?
no. Wait, does anybody even want that?
I've had a million requests for you to sing that.
Okay, fine. Okay.
Amazing song that Sarah wrote that Keith Urban recorded years ago. She didn't write it about me. The lyrics, Stupid Boy, thank God.
That you know of.
Were not
Well,
about
I
me.
was.
Pink Floyd count as prog? I don't know. I don't think so. I love Pink Floyd so much, but I wouldn't count as prog. Would you guys?
Some of the early Syd Barrett stuff, I don't know how you'd classify it.
Yeah,
but,
that's true. That's true.
you know, I don't know if it'd be prog, but I don't know what the hell else it would be. Who knows?
True. You're right. Experimental rock and roll. Yeah.
Just hum. No one cares about
Nobody
lyrics.
cares about lyrics.
I
Okay.
love it.
Here we
I'm
go.
gonna say that in the next song.
Just no one cares about you get. I'm gonna put that on the screen. Love it.
Here's Stupid Boy.
Stupid.
4.
She was precious like a flower. She grew wild, innocent. A perfect prayer in a desperate hour. She was everything beautiful, but different. Stupid boy. You can't fence that in, stupid boy. That's like holding back the wind. She laid her heart so right in your hands, and you stole her every dream, and you crushed her plans. She never even knew she had a choice. That's what happens when the only voice she hears is telling her she can be stupid.
That's it.
Love it.
It's out of tune.
What made you think?
The A string was killing me.
Dude, so on a personal note, I'm sure everybody asks you this stuff, but like, how cool is it that you get to play music with the person you're spending your life with? Like, that's got to be the coolest shit in the world.
It's the best thing in the world. She's
Gotta be.
She's amazing.
Yeah,
She's got an amazing ear, and like she's an incredible harmony singer. And if you hire her to do a session in the studio to sing harmony, she's incredible at listening to a singer, getting their entire vibe, and then just putting the perfect blending harmony on top of what they're doing.
Thanks.
It's amazing.
And now, but Tom, you don't sing though, right?
I'm a shit singer. The worst.
And I don't.
Isn't that wild to have an ear like yours, like to be able to appreciate it, but then watch her do it? Because I can't sing for shit either, and like I'm so fascinated by people that can and just hear the harmonies like that. It's like one of those intuitive things that I just literally can't process.
Oh, it's amazing. I would kill to be a singer.
Dude, totally.
I
Well,
would kill to be a singer. I mean, I'm so jealous. I mean, it's just, what's it feel like?
Sarah, people are loving you.
well, I just feel like it's so much harder to play the guitar. But I look at it and go, there has to be a way to find a voice. If you want to sing that bad, you might not be able to sing like, you know, Freddie Mercury, but like you could come up with some kind of a character.
Who's the greatest singer in rock and roll history?
Wait, what'd you just ask?
Who's
I
the
do
greatest?
think it is.
Who's the greatest singer in rock and roll history? I'm asking Sarah.
Oh, that's sweet, Mojo.
Oh, rock and roll? I don't know, but if ever, I got to go Whitney Houston. I got to agree with Ted Nugent.
Oh, Whitney Houston. Hello.
Did you just say Ted Nugent?
I said I got to agree with Ted Nugent. I don't agree with the Nuge on much, but Whitney's the best.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah. She's a
she
huge
is.
Whitney freak.
Yeah, dude,
Love
not even close.
The version of Whitney singing Higher Love, the Steve Winwood song.
I was just watching Whitney stuff the other day out of nowhere. I think it just came across on Alexa, and I'm like holding a baby. I got spit up on my shoulder, and she comes through with some random track, and I'm just like, God damn it! Every time she comes on, it's like I remember. Like that girl, she's the best there ever was.
It's so warm. It's so
She's amazing.
heartwarming. Like when it takes me back to that time when I just hear her voice. I'm just like, yes.
She's
And from the chest with so much power, you know, and so much control, and how she would come in before the beat, or even sometimes wait till the measure was over and then just kind of float a thing by. It's just unbelievable.
Star Spangled Banner. Remember that one?
It's not even close. And what's cool about that one? Have you watched the little documentary on her doing that the NFL did?
Oh, is it amazing?
So what's cool about it is the Star Spangled Banner is in 3. It's in 3/4, and she didn't feel it in 3. She felt it in 4. So she had the whole band, and if you remember, she did it with the whole marching band and everything, relearn and rescore all the parts in 4 for her.
Wow.
And she's the only one ever in a Super Bowl to do it in 4/4. And it's a totally different feel and vibe. And if you go back and watch it now, knowing that, rewatch it, and you'll really realize like how, it's just light years above. And it's just amazing. It's amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out.
I just thought that she was taking liberties in between the.
No, she literally had them rearrange the whole score for the entire military marching band into 4/4 because she felt it in 4, even though for 300 years everybody's done it in 3. She felt it in 4.
Incredible. What about Freddie Mercury? Would you put him on the list?
Oh yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, that live concert that won, that Live Aid was just unbelievable. But if I had to pick like the voice,
Ray Charles.
well, Ray Charles Ray Charles. So I did a video, like maybe 10 video goes, just entitled "Ray Charles is the GOAT," because someone was challenging me, and so I found this old, black and white clip of just him playing a slow blues on the piano, and his timing is so slow. You see him rock all the way back and forth. But no, stadium singers, because if you say rock singers, I'm thinking stadiums. Like who has the voice to hit the upper bleachers, open air, big stadium songs. I just don't see how you do it better than Steve Perry.
Oh, Steve Perry.
Yeah.
I mean, when I think of who is the voice, he's the voice.
That's amazing. Yeah, Leslie Shapiro loves Steve Perry. That's her voice.
Yeah, because if you're thinking like rock singers and you're thinking stadiums, like who can sing to 100,000 people, open air, and hit him in the chest all the way at the back, I'd probably put him on the top of the list.
From the Philippines or whatever, that was like his. What about
He's
that?
Great. He's great. You can't say he's not great. He's great. It's unbelievable.
Imagine if there was somebody else out there in the world that had the voice that was like exactly like yours. It's crazy.
It is crazy to think about.
You remember how I did that episode about all Steves are great guitar players?
Yes.
It's like you make a list of 100 great Steves. Paul is the name for singers. Think about it.
Paul Rogers.
Think about it. There's
Yep.
Paul McCartney, Paul Carrick, Paul Young, Paul Westerberg. There's a lot of great Pauls. I'm forgetting a whole bunch. But
I love this whole concept of a series. Like
Paul singing and Steve on guitar. Yeah.
Paul.
Those are the names.
Steve.
Mm-hmm.
The drummer would be.
We'd have to think about that. We have to really get into that.
I don't know. Well, does anybody else have any questions up here before we call it a night? I know we've been on here quite some time, probably a lot longer than you thought we would be.
I'm having a good time, man. Thanks for all the cool questions, everybody. This is fun.
Well, I sincerely appreciate it. I really, really do. Like I mentioned in the beginning, and like Tim reiterated. Sarah, I don't know if you caught it, but Tim Pierce jumped on to say hi.
Oh, I didn't catch it. I've never met him.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
Yeah. Well, we all have just been giddy and over the moon about Tom, doing the videos and coming on the internet. And so we wanted to come on here and an intervention and force him to keep doing it, even though his real life is going to come back and he's going to, do the real work. But please consider keep doing the videos.
She's got an amazing album that's going to be coming out very soon. I'm very excited about it.
Hopefully.
Really?
Yes.
A couple months, maybe. Depends.
Not the Skyline Motel thing, a different thing, her own solo. It's going to be great.
So you think 2 months or so?
What do you think? 2 months?
Yeah, it'll probably end up being 2 months. Probably. Yeah. I was hoping for May, but we're trying to record another song over here.
Yeah.
It's taking a minute. We erased it. We got really far on it, and then we erased all of.
Because we don't know. We got this little Tascam digital recorder. We don't know.
No.
Yeah.
Oh no.
Give us a Joe Walsh story, a road story. Yes.
Do it. It's up to you. Take it if you want to take it. Anyway, I'm excited to hear that record.
Thank you. Okay, I'm gonna go try to figure out how to open my wine bottle.
Come back if you can.
Okay.
Come back.
Bye, guys. Okay, this is great. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. They want a Joe Walsh road story.
Yeah. Joe's hilarious. He's funny. I remember one time, like, he could be pretty hard on the band.
I love that though.
I remember one time, I'll never forget. The road manager would always say, go up on stage and make sure you guys are ready at sound check before Joe gets there, because he doesn't want to wait around. So we would all be at places, big band. We had 2 drummers, 3 backup singers, keyboard player, bass player, me, and we were all out there with our instruments, and we had all these great singers on stage. So we would just start jamming songs. I would start some riff. I would play like an old Foreigner song, or Honky Tonk Woman or something, and everybody could just join in and play it just to goof around, you know. And I remember one time we were playing Honky Tonk Woman. We were playing a pretty cool version of Honky Tonk Woman. And I looked over on the side of the stage and I saw Joe was waiting in the wings, ready to come out, you know, for the sound check. And he came walking out on the stage and he was like, "Why don't you guys play like that in my stuff? See how you guys are playing nice and easy? You always bash, 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 bash." But on my music, you know, it's like he's just, and then
I love that.
just berate every guy in the band. But it's so funny when he does it because it's just awesome. We all love him so much, and it's just like. But then the next day he would come in and he would say really sweet things. You know, we really had him last night. But it was so much fun to just play with him, and it was surreal, man. Like I mean, imagine me, a kid, growing up in Cleveland, where Joe Walsh was like just the absolute epitome of what was awesome about Cleveland rock and roll guitar.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm on stage with him, you know, for a whole tour, like standing shoulder to shoulder, you know, every night, whole thing.
Yeah.
It was surreal, man. I mean,
just throwing the sound across the arena.
He's awesome, man. I've learned so much just from hanging around with him, watching him, man. He's amazing. Said that I play like him, probably through osmosis, you know, like some of my style. I mean, how could you not help? You know, it has to seep in somehow. His bending and his style is so unique. You know what I mean? Yeah.
Now, forgive me for not just knowing this, but how long? When did you get that gig, and how long did you do it?
It was. I only did it for 1 year. It was a summer tour opening for Tom Petty before Tom died, sadly, and. Yeah, it was like I've been friends with the drummer Joe Vitale for a long, long time. He's a dear old mate of mine, and we used to play together in Cleveland a lot. And I'd record with him in the studio and stuff like that. And he called me one day and said, "Look, you know, Waddy's not doing the gig anymore. Waddy Wachtel was the guy I replaced." And he said, "You want to come do this tour?" And I was like, "Man, of course. I would love to." And it was crazy. It was like thrown in the whirlwind trying to replace Waddy, who's like a legend in his own right, you know. Mm-hmm. It was great though. I learned a lot and had a lot of fun. And it was great. I mean, you know, I think we did one Barnstorm show, the original Barnstorm guys, you know, where we did a show with Kenny Passarelli on bass and stuff. And that was really fun too. I just, you know, it was just cool to be there, you know, with him.
Dude, I can't imagine. So, I'm just curious. I'm not like a super big gearhead or anything like that, but I'm just curious because of your comment about, you know, how the tone is different, you know, when you're shooting across an arena.
Yeah.
You know, what was he using? What were you using? And what did you decide to alter? Like, what did you change? Like, you obviously went out and you said, "Oh my God, they're so muddy." Like, so what did you realize perhaps you should, you know, move around?
He's very picky about how loud the guy playing rhythm guitar is. You can't be too loud and you also can't be too soft. He wants to hear those parts, but he would say stuff like, "You're killing me on Rocky Mountain Way." Like if I was too loud, the next day he would come in and say. But then he would be like, "I can't hear you." So you had to find that right.
And now, did he use monitors or in-ears, or was he talking like straight stage volume? Like, how far away would you be from him?
I was about, you know, probably about
15, 20 feet.
Yeah. And at the start of the tour, I had two amps angled in at me. Yeah. So he was catching the sides of my amps, right? So that's why I think he kept saying, "It sounds like this," you know, like yeah. So when I started angling the amp straight out, he was able to hear them better. Yeah, it wasn't so dark, you know. But he was, you know, he's real picky about how loud you are. But he also doesn't like a lot of bass, and he doesn't like a lot of low end rumbling, you know, in anything, in the drums or the bass or anything. He likes to kind of
let the PA kind of do that.
Yeah, that's exactly that. But man. Great ears, man. He's amazing.
That's so wild to me, man. And so did he, like, with that gig? I would assume you'd have to play really, really loud. But did you guys use?
Were you? No, it wasn't that loud. That's the thing. when I first got called for that gig, I was thinking, shit, I need to get like a really loud ass amp because I didn't really.
Right? Yeah.
Man, dude, I mean, a deluxe was too much.
Really? So like a 20 or 30 watts is all you really needed? Sometimes not even that much?
We had these amazing side fill monitors, these German kick-ass, really high-tech, like PA monitors that were on the side fills on the stage, and you could hear the whole band in there. It was like standing inside of a giant stereo system.
Yeah, that's so cool.
You hear everybody. So the amps didn't have to be real loud, you know. And so like just 2 little deluxes was all I needed, you know. And he in the course of the rehearsals for that tour, he had like pallets of amps brought into the rehearsals. He was just going through one at a time, setting up tons of these different amps, just trying a million different amps out of his lockers. And
really? So he didn't have like a go-to setup that he's been doing for years.
Try anything. And the thing that's funny about it is that everything he plugs into, he sounds exactly the same. Sounds like Joe Walsh.
Well, I believe that. That's so interesting. So like when you did that, or when he would have another rhythm guitar player, would he be just as picky of the sound, like from you? Like, in other words, like if he's like, if I'm doing the humbucker thing, you're not, like, how did that roll?
Oh, he's got amazing rock and roll ears. He knows when the guitars are working. He liked that Firebird. I was using an old Firebird on the tour.
Yeah.
He had a lot. Every time I played that, he was like, I like that. That sounds good. Yeah. I tried 335s on that gig, and he didn't like those as much, but he liked that Bird.
Yeah.
I ended up using that quite a bit at the time because it seemed like it worked really well with what he was doing. You know,
that's cool. And was that the type of gig? Because I know he did the voice box and some of the other stuff. But was that the type of gig where you found yourself like, you know, having 1 or 2 like really great sounds, or did you have to have the whole board with a bunch of shit to hit? I mean, what
small pedal board. It wasn't, you know, a couple delays here and there. It wasn't really crazy. One of the things I remember the most is that, you know, I've done a lot of gigs in my life. I've been on a lot of different tours and all kinds of crazy shit. But the very first show I ever played with him was at the House of Blues in Vegas. It was basically like an audition gig, really. I wasn't really fully in the band, but you want to do one gig to see if it would work, you know. And I'll never forget when we walked out on stage. I've been around a lot of different people and played a lot of different bands. I've never seen fans that were so like, they love him so much, man. The crowd, the way they react to him and like what he's doing, I've never seen anything like it. No artist I've ever played with has that kind of amazing draw to their fans. Like they feel like they know him, you know, and they're so into him, yelling out, "Hey, Joe, we're with you, Joe," you know.
Yeah.
Love him. And it was shocking for me to just be standing on stage going, wow, man, these fans are totally into him.
They're just screaming at him.
He's got that kind of personality where he really draws that out of people. Like he's like the sort of the everyman, you know, that everybody roots for, you know, the man, you know, with the songs like Ordinary Average Guy and all that stuff, you know. It's really cool, man. It's fascinating to witness. I mean, Vince said the same thing. Vince Gill, when he's playing on those Eagles gigs, he goes,
I love Vince Gill.
I can't believe the way the crowd reacts when Joe does his songs. That's when the crowd really wakes up. You know what I mean?
Dude, I can't imagine. I'm so happy you brought up Vince Gill. So someone just asked, you know, what's your favorite bar to play down in Nashville? But I was just down there this summer and, you know, saw Vince with the Time Jumpers down at 3rd and Lindsay or whatever. And like, what a fucking great gig that is.
Oh, dude, those guys are unbelievable.
Dude, I got bit by the bluegrass bug real hard for about 6 or 7 years. And, you know, the fiddle is my thing. Like, my favorite musician of all time is Vassar Clements, this killer fiddle player. Yeah. And yeah, dude. And
I would have never saw that coming. That's awesome.
You never know what you're going to get, man.
Yeah.
And so I went and I've always been a huge Vince Gill fan, especially when he covers, you know, like the old George Jones drinking songs. And so I went and saw him at 3rd and Lindsay from the Time Jumpers. And, you know, they have the 3 fiddle players and the steel guitar. I was like, this is so unbelievably good. It's so good.
It's amazing, man. Those guys,
Yeah.
are insane. I mean, that every musician that comes into town, you have to go check them out at the third.
Yeah.
It's
You,
like
you have to, if you guys are watching, like, you got to go check that. I think it's every Monday night, right?
guitar player Andy Reese.
God,
What a
his vibrato, the way he shakes it like that. He's one of the best guys I've seen that does that violin style up and down the fretboard vibrato. Just makes it. I mean, it sounds just like a voice, but not like slide playing. It beyond exceptional.
He is such a badass. Andy,
Dude.
bad. Like when I had my music store for a couple of, I had a store for 3 years. I had all these amazing guitar players that would just come in and just pick up a guitar and noodle around.
Mm-hmm.
Andy was definitely at the top of the list of guys that I would love to listen to when they would just come in the store. He just plays one chord and you're just like, yes.
Yeah.
Guthrie Travis always come in and play, and like you guys know Doug Lancio, session guy. He used to come in and just noodle around for hours, and I would just be like, God, I could listen to that all day. You
I know, and Paul Franklin, man. Just all of it.
Yeah.
But what are some of your other favorite places to play locally?
Leslie, man, that's the place.
That's the spot.
That was my bar. Before I had kids, I was there basically every day. I had my own corner chair at the end of the bar with my name on it. Man, I was there all the time. There's so much great live music in there. And the guy that runs the place, Ron Bryce, is a fucking awesome guy. It's a great place. All the people that work there, they always have great shows. I mean, now that I've got kids and stuff, Sarah and I hardly ever get out to go and see shows.
It's impossible. It's impossible.
So I don't really know what's out there these days, but man, I sure love going there.
Yeah, that's the spot. I'm planning on going back there at least sometime. I was gonna be coming back there for the summer NAMM this year, but that's not happening.
Yeah.
So maybe next year, something like that. But if I do, Third and Lindsay, I'm telling you, man, I'm definitely gonna go see the Time Jumpers again. It's unbelievable.
Yeah, they're incredible. It's an amazing thing. It's like, I mean, where else are you ever going to find a group of musicians playing that kind of music more authentically? Western swing. It's incredible.
It is incredible.
Great.
So Kevin wants to hear a Jack Pearson story. Got a Jack Pearson story?
I don't really know Jack very well. I mean, we're friends. I see him around here and there, but I'm just think he's amazing.
I love that he's got he plays like an old Squire.
Well, yeah, it transcends all that.
I know. It's just great.
Yeah, the guy's just breathes music. I mean, he's so versatile. He can play any kind of style, and it's so legit when he plays. His feel and his touch is just otherworldly, man. That's that shit that I was just talking about, where you got to play your whole life to get to that level, man.
Yeah,
Jack Pearson was born to play guitar, and there he is. He's like a one of the. I feel like he's a national treasure, man. That guy.
Yeah, he's incredible. He's incredible.
He's incredible.
Well, anybody have anything else before we call it? I feel like the questions have slowed down substantially. Dude, I can't tell you how much I appreciate you doing this. This is so much fun for me.
This has been great, man. Thank you. One of these, man. It's exciting.
Yeah, we'll do more of these. I've decided that I'm going to do these every week and do it with somebody else, and alternate between people on YouTube, people that do sessions, people that tour, people that write, we're all stuck in the house. No one can go anywhere and no one can do anything.
Great. So great. And thanks to all the people that have said sweet things on the channel.
Oh, dude, you're getting a lot of love. Let me just remind everybody that please, if you haven't yet, moderators, please drop the links. I really appreciate all your hard work for the moderators tonight. There's people that are moderating the chat and to keep all the crazy people out and to make sure everybody has links, et cetera, et cetera. They're amazing people. Thank you very, very much. Yeah. And make sure everybody, you sub to his channel. Let's see if we can get him to 15 grand tonight, 15,000 subscribers. Yeah. And just know that, I appreciate all the super chats. We're going to split all the money, and I want to thank all of you for all your questions, for tuning in, and just Dude, it's Tuesday.
So, I really appreciate you asking me to do this, man. Very cool.
Dude, I sincerely appreciate it too. And if you ever come to Baltimore, if you ever find yourself going to PRS for some reason, definitely let me know. I'll take you out to get some crabs or something. Dude, we'll have a good time.
I'll sleep on your couch, man.
Dude, you have to come stay. But you know that we have 4 children, and you might get a Hogan leg drop on the throat at 6 a.m.
We can all watch Cars, the movie.
That's it. That's it, man. All right. Well, thank you everyone so much. Tom, hey, hold on 1 second so I can close this out. But thank you all so much for tuning in. It's been a lot of fun. Thank you for everybody that donated. Thank you, moderators. You guys are all the very best.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Good night, everybody.